How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another supporters club. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but there was a little Orlando pre-season so we had to get out of the way. Obviously, Jordan's back in the seat next to me. Big up Jordan. In front of me, we've got Chris Hudson again, and to his left, we've got Curtis. What are you saying, Curtis? Recovered?
Just about. The jet lag's still there, though, man.
Yeah,
straight back to reality. I got back, I had to go Asda shopping. I said, boy, I don't know what's going on. Real life was back in full effect.
Trust me, yesterday I conked out early. Still, the jet lag still got to me a bit. But big up everyone out there in America that supported. Everyone from Orlando, Miami, New York, LA, ATL, Kenya, Nigeria, Jamaica, Grenada, Australia, Peru. Met so many fans out there from across the world. Yeah, the support is mad. It was a great trip, so big up you guys. But there's some business to get into.
I want to big up you guys before you go any further, because the content you guys made out there was really, really strong. You two, Lee, you got Cecil, big up Cecil and the presses. I really enjoyed the content that you lot were making out there. I know them short trips in the heat it can be a lot.
Yeah.
It can look like a lot of fun, but there's a lot of waiting around, there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of carrying stuff.
He knows. Did he have a camera?
Yeah.
Trust me, I know them ones. It looks to the people watching at home like, oh, glamorous. It's a lot of work when you're working out there. So the content was really engaging.
I love for that.
To get Edu, to get in the press conferences, you guys smashed it. So big up you guys and AFTV.
Love for that. Good vibes, man. Good vibes. Good people, man. Good people. Love for that. But yeah, business to attend to, and I think we're in a lot happier of a mood than we was last time out. Not to say we wasn't okay last time out, but we've got Zinchenko over the line. You know, we've had a good pre-season tour, a good win over Chelsea. It is just pre-season, but there's just over a week left till we kick off the Premier League 22-23 season against Palace. I doubt any more signings come in between now and then. I think the focus will be outgoings. But let's start with Zinchenko. Chris?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Quality player, two players in one. He solves the full-back position if Tierney is injured. He can play in midfield. He's a winner. It's wonderful.
Yeah, happy with it then, to say the least.
When he speaks like that, I feel optimistic.
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm so happy we got him.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, Jordan?
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm not happy if he's going to be the guy that's going to be our midfielder, which I'm fearing that he will be. I'm happy in that I've said for a long time, I think we need to get cover for Tierney at left back, and he clearly will be that. I mean, he might even be the number one now. Let's be real.
Possibly,
he might have to. It might be a battle now for the first choice left back spot. But I'm still not. Everyone's telling me that he's technically gifted, which I think he is, and he can play midfield and does so for Ukraine. I won't lie, I've not seen many Ukraine games. I've not seen much of this brilliant performance in midfield that people tell me of. And I'm more than happy come the end of the season to be proven wrong and actually smashed it in midfield for us. But I'm looking at United's midfield, I'm looking at Chelsea's, I'm looking at Spurs', Liverpool, and I still feel we've got the inferior midfield of all of those teams. And I think if we're looking at where games normally are won and lost, it's in midfield. And I still don't trust Partey's injury record. Still don't trust Xhaka full stop. So when you really look at it like that in Zinchenko, it's a nice addition, but is he the guy that you think in the big games, Zinchenko's in the middle of the park is going to be the guy? I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm not sure. So I don't want to piss on your chips and your enthusiasm early on. But it's a good signing. It's a good signing. He's a good age. He's a winner. I'm still fearful of our midfield. I'm not confident in our midfield yet.
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, we saw him out there live, and you two probably seen the match or the highlights of the match because it was so late over here. But he started in the left-back position, where the system Arteta wants to use. He floated into the number 8 position quite often because we had the ball a lot. We had quite a lot of attacks, and you could see him kind of drift inside and hold that midfield position. Ben White would slot in into a back three. Hence why I think we're probably going to start the season with Ben White at right back. Curtis, you saw Zinchenko in that game against Chelsea. Well, we know a lot about him already from being in the league, but Jordan's right. I haven't seen much of him in midfield. I've heard good things about him in midfield. I believe he's the captain for Ukraine.
Yeah, I think he is.
But what's your thoughts on it? Is he our left back? Is he our midfielder? Is he a mix of both?
I think he's a mix of both. I agree with what Jordan said. If he's the midfield signing of the summer, I don't think that's enough. I like the fact he can play left back and can play midfield, and I think he will probably start the season at left back because Tierney's only just come back from injuries, Zinchenko's fit. I think he'll start against Palace. But I do agree that midfield needs an upgrade. We've stuck with Xhaka for a long time. Partey's had a lot of injury problems. You look at the depth below them, El Neni, Lokonga, those guys, I don't think...
We ain't seen Vieira yet, have we?
No, we haven't seen Vieira as
Yeah,
well, but I think they said he's out for another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's more of a number 8 / number 10 as well. So I think we need someone who can play next to Partey in that pivot and get on the ball. So I'm happy with Zinchenko. It's a good signing, it's a smart signing, but I, like Jordan said, I want that midfielder to come in as well.
Chris, we talk about Xhaka a lot, and he's come up again because of that position that a lot of us feel, including myself, that we need to upgrade. But is this more a fan's dream, or do you think Arteta wants to upgrade that position? Because yes, we've been linked to Tielemans this summer, but you know we've done good business elsewhere, and the links to Tielemans are not as solid as they once was. So do you actually, is Xhaka Arteta's guy, or do you think he's looking to upgrade him?
No, I think Arteta loves Xhaka, but remember what he said the other day, our business isn't done.
Yeah.
So that tells me he's sort of back, he's thinking, well, if I can get someone in, I will.
Yeah, for that position in particular. From what I took from that, it's probably more outgoings than anything, because what we've got 33 senior players on the books. Actually, Okonkwo's going out where he's not one of the senior players I've counted, actually. So it looks like it's outgoings now. That first half against Orlando, it was a very makeshift team. I think it was a starting 11 that Arteta told, listen, there's some positions this season that need to be filled in terms of depth. Yeah. Go out there and prove yourself. And I don't think anyone came out of that first half with any good reviews, not from where I was sitting anyway. What do you think, Jordan? And outgoing is the focus now?
I think it is. I think, you know, clearing the decks, freeing up some money. We've done some good business so far in this window. Spent some big money again. I think we're again the highest spenders in Europe.
So far.
So I think it's now about, okay, can we get Bellerin out? Can we get Iwas there? Can we get
Maitland
Torreira? Can we get these guys out just to free up some money? I know Leno's on his way out. For me, if we all agree, I think we did in the last show, that top 4 is the minimum target now for Arsenal this season. If we're saying as a fan base, and I think most of us are, that top 4 is the target, we have to look at who the competition is and where we align with them. Yeah. Are we significantly better than we were last year? I think we are, but Spurs are too. Are we better than Chelsea at the moment? I still think it's probably closer than people think. I know people are laughing at Chelsea, they've lost a lot of players. I think they will do business, and their midfield, going back to that part of the pitch, they've brought Gallagher back in. All right, he's a youngster, so we'll see how he gets on, but they've still got Kante, a fading Kante, but still Kante. Kovacic, I think, is an underrated player. Jorginho, I think, is an underused player. I think he's using the wrong position. So they've got a good midfield. If United get De Jong, and we were talking before we started recording, that's looking less likely than more. But if they do get him, that's De Jong, Eriksen, Fernandes, with 2 dogs in Fred and McTominay as options as well. That's a good midfield pool of players to tap into. Forget Liverpool and City for now. So pre-season is important in terms of getting players in, I think, before the season starts. I don't want to lose that Palace game. And all this talk about we might bring in players before the window closes. If you're 2-3 defeats down before you even have your team complete, you're on the back foot from the get-go. So the pre-season for me, it looks good to some degree. I'm not one of these people that believes that pre-season should be dismissed. And it's only pre-season. I think pre-season is important. Whether you win or lose, it's more about the manager, A, getting everybody fit and sharp, but second of all, implementing his style of play. Can you work out what I want to do? That's why beating Chelsea was good for us, but sometimes losing in pre-season can be a good thing because you now know what not to do. You experiment, you're like, okay, come game 1, we're not doing that now, forget that. So losing games and getting battered isn't always a bad thing sometimes, but pre-season is important to me because get the players in, get the system in, get the fitness up, and we're nearly there, we're almost there, but I think we still need another player or 2 before Palace game, but I don't think that will happen, and that's kind of why I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay, as Jordan says, nearly there. What's your thoughts on the Palace game? Because in terms of incomings, I'd say that's it before that game. Yeah. Do you feel we're ready for that?
I do think we're ready for that. I think ideally we could do with 2 more, in my opinion. Maybe even 3 more, but I don't see Arsenal buying that many. I think you look at that Brentford game last year, we were just not prepared for that game. Obviously, COVID kicked in, we had players out as well. I think we look a lot more prepared this year. Zinchenko can go straight in. Jesus has slotted in perfectly. Partey's fit, you know, we look solid. That team that played against Chelsea, I would be confident in that team going and beating Crystal Palace. So we are a lot more prepared. I think the squad depth is the issue. That will come in further down the line when we get injuries and stuff. So for me, I think we need 2 more before the window closes.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, 4-0 against Chelsea was a beautiful way to cap off the tour. But like Jordan says, pre-season is just pre-season. We've seen great pre-seasons before that turn out to poor seasons. We've seen poor pre-seasons turn out to great
the
seasons
league.
for that team. But I'd love nothing more than to go Palace away Friday night, kick off the Premier League season with a healthy 3-4-0 over there. Reason being because we tend to start seasons telling the opposition that it's the same old Arsenal. If we went into Palace away off the back of what happened last season against Palace and other teams in those difficult Friday, Monday night fixtures, and dealt with them good, it'd send a message to the Tottenhams, the Chelseas, the Man Uniteds, yes, forget about Liverpool and City right now, that maybe, just maybe, this Arsenal is different this season. We've done some good business early, we look more prepared going into that first game than we have done maybe in the last 2-3 years.
And plus the fact you ain't got if you do start badly, you've always had that international break where you can reset.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Not this year,
Yeah.
because of the World Cup.
Bang, 8 games.
And when you look at the first 5 fixtures, 2 newly promoted sides, I think Bournemouth and Fulham are in there. Leicester at home, who look a bit of a mess at the
We've got to
moment.
make hay
We've got a
till
good
we
run,
go.
haven't
Yeah, till we get to Old Trafford,
Yeah,
we've got to make hay.
yeah. And even Old Trafford isn't the daunting task it used to be.
Yeah, but it always is for us.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
make it.
We don't have the best of times there, but
But you always get beat there.
listen, it's not Anfield, it's not Etihad, and we've had a couple of those in the first few games of the season over the years.
You mentioned this Turkish about going into that Palace game and a good 3-4-0 win would be dope. I'd love that. But for me, I'm not even asking for that.
Just a win.
Well, just not even that. I'm just saying I want to go into that game confident.
Yeah.
If that game was tomorrow, are you confident we win that game? Are you confident we win that game?
I'm still borderline.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying I want to go into
I'm
that game
optimistic.
confident. If we win or lose, we don't know.
Are you confident?
No.
No.
What can happen from now
A
till
midfielder.
then?
Give me a midfielder, and that for me, because you mentioned on a pod we did last season about not finishing the job. You had mentioned we had a good summer last year in terms of our transfer business. We did, but we didn't finish the job. And what I don't want to do is get halfway into the season and making excuses. Oh, if we'd have got this, but get them now. And I know it's not easy. I know them just come in, it takes time. I get that, but I'm just saying you've done so well. Finish the job and let us go into that first game of the season confident that we can go to Palace and get the win. If we lose, we lose. We can discuss that afterwards. But at least make me confident. Give me a team that's complete. That I'm like, right, let's go to war. Let's go with the guns. Rather than, I think we'll get a point. I don't want to do that. I want to go into games knowing we're definitely losing.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I'm not confident. If we lost that game 1-0, would you be surprised?
No, you wouldn't.
When's
would
the
you?
last time we started the season on fire? Yeah, see, look,
Yeah, I can't remember.
it's a long time.
Because I know a lot of people look at that 4-3 against Leicester. I don't look at that as on fire. That didn't send a message to the rest of the league. That's
basketball
it.
game.
That
Yeah.
was a joke.
Lacazette.
I can't remember.
It's been a little while. All right, then on confidence, Jordan, let's stay with you for a sec because you brought it up. Edu's done a couple of interviews over the last couple of days. He said a lot of good things. He's been quite open about a lot of subjects. Has that filled you with more confidence? Maybe not for the Palace game, but in terms of the future of Arsenal, the process, this season in particular? Because last season you was very much behind Mikel, behind the process, and you backed it. Mm-hmm. You saw how it ended, but finally, compare Edu's quotes now to Edu's quotes at this point last season, where he was quite wary of setting a target. It's quite evident that Cecil asked about top 4 in Orlando. Edu was asked about top 4, and they both replied with, this is Arsenal, it's not top 4, it's challenging.
Which I think is a little bit of a cop out. That's a bit of a thing you say that the fans are going to lap up a little bit. No, give us a target. That's a very nice thing to say. We're Arsenal. We should be winning the leagues. We're a big club. Okay, but what are you telling Mikel Arteta is your expectation this season? Am I confident in what he's saying? No, but only because they're politicians. Whether he says they can all speak nice, say the nice things, and get excited. I don't listen to what they say anymore. I respond to expectations and accountability. What are you telling us you've told Arteta is a job this season? If it's win 2 domestic cups and finish top 6, cool. I can disagree with that, but at least I know where you stand and what you want. Let us know what your targets are
But
for the season.
you're right, but for accountability, we've lacked the words. And only you hold the words accountable. Words are words, but when, like I said, compared to last season, Edu's asked about targets, he took a step back and basically ignored the question. What I take from the challenging answer is yes, it's the right thing to say. It hypes us up as a fan base. But what I take from that is that means minimum top 4 is the target.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
you're not challenging if you're 5th, 6th, and so on. Chris,
Edu,
Edu?
remember what Edu said, when they started the process, but 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, right, lads, we got to get rid of Emery. You remember me saying that?
Yeah.
And he earmarked season 22-23. This is it.
Yeah.
So when he's saying we're going to achieve something, I don't think he means coming 5th or 6th. I think he means we're going to achieve something. And here we are, 22-23.
And to be fair to him, he can't go publicly and say, I've told Mikel Arteta
Top
4 is the minimum.
because everyone's
Every
going
week,
to be doing.
I've got to say though, this is my 57th season watching Arsenal coming up. I've never heard an employee from Arsenal be that open.
Yeah.
Never.
Whether
you think it's all spin and Alistair Campbell land, I understand what you're saying. But for me, it was refreshing. He's putting it out there. And I thought, bloody hell, it really cheered me up.
Yeah,
I liked it as well.
Yeah.
I liked it, I respected it. I know, like you say, we've heard a lot of this talk before from Arsenal, but I do think he talks with his heart on his sleeve, I do. I think he cares about the club. But he does have to back it up with actions. Because
and to be fair, he has. With the money he's spending and sticking us at to be fair, he has.
He's working. I think they're working in the right way, and I think him and Arteta are on the same page, but as fans, we need to see the action now, That's why I've been questioning Arteta so much. It's like, you could say all these great things, but are you going to back it up? We've seen it in the Amazon clip they put out yesterday with his team talk before the Norwich game. It's all great and passionate, but, I want to see Arsenal. Where's the win? You know what I mean? I want to see you in the top 4 and winning trophies, so...
It does sound like there's more hope going into this season than there has been in at least the last 3, let's say. Maybe 4, 5, 6 if I really take a few of Wenger's last seasons into account. All right, Kroenkes. A lot of opinions seem to be changing on them.
Has yours changed?
Definitely not mine. It's not about winning transfer windows for me. It's not about just hearing words. Words are something I've called for. Accountability is something I've called for. So thank you to Edu for being, a bit more open than usual. But no, for me, when Arsenal get back to what Edu says about challenging, what Arteta says about challenging, and then ask me is my opinion changing of Kroenke, probably not then either, but it'd be more up for debate.
Yeah.
Because they got Arsenal at a point where we were one of the top clubs in Europe. We were one of the top 5 revenue makers in Europe, and you've seen what's happened to us over the years in terms of wage structure, falling into Europa League, falling out of Europa League, and so on. So there's a lot more for them to do than a couple summers of spending. A lot of people say to me, look at when they've taken full ownership on. And I know that person asked that question coming from a spend point of view. And yes, spending was a problem before. It wasn't the only problem because yes, since they've taken on full ownership, we've spent a lot more money. But since they've taken on full ownership, it's been 8th, 5th. So it depends what you want to look at to determine whether since they've taken full ownership, it's been a difference, a change in their ways.
So what have they got to do to convince you that they're serious? You're not for turning.
At the bare minimum, listen, I wanted top 4 last year. So for me to just say top 4 this year, I think it's wasted another year. I think although we didn't make top 4 last year, we've done some good business in the window. Surprisingly, Chelsea are a bit of a mess. Man United are still a bit of a mess. So I'm looking at this season, and yes, Tottenham have done well in the transfer window, and yes, they have a manager with higher credentials. But I'm saying let's secure top 4 comfortably. Not in the last few games of the season. I'm saying let's secure it comfortably. Now, we're in the 3rd year of our process, right? Man United are just about to start their process. Tuchel's going into his 2nd year of his process, and Conte's going into his first full year of a process. So in terms of how long we've all been in processes, Arsenal, aside from Liverpool, Man City, have been the longest running. So for me, it's go for 3rd, which should make top 4 comfortable. Let's not look behind our backs anymore. Let's kind of kick on from here. Yeah, and a trophy would go down well with that.
But what can Kroenke do? Because is that not then going to be on Arteta to deliver? How much responsibility on that achievement do you place on Arteta, and how much do you place on the Kroenkes?
Well, you know what it is. If we had let's say we had a manager with a bit bigger credentials in charge, I'd say he takes more of the ownership of it. But I think because we've got a manager that's his first job as a manager, it can't. If it goes pear-shaped this season, it can't all fall on Arteta. I'd then look at again, you've backed someone that was inexperienced, and it's probably his inexperience that will let him down if anything is going to let him down. Yeah. So again, I still can't put it all on Edu and Arteta. I still look at Kroenke and say, listen, if you believe in someone, this is the right thing to do. Forget the noise, forget Turkish from AFTV, forget this person from TalkSport, forget this person from wherever. I'm backing my man, and this is the process, and this is when it's going to bear fruit. That's the right thing to do. But if it does go pear-shaped, you have backed an inexperienced manager, an inexperienced director of football.
You can only be inexperienced for so long, though.
Yeah,
The Arteta we got now is not the Arteta who walked through the door 2.5-3 years ago.
It's true.
So, I'm not having that he's inexperienced no more.
No, I get that as well, because there's a lot of mistakes that he should have learnt from over the last few years.
But to be fair, 3 years as a manager. Remember, it's not 3 years at Arsenal, it's 3 years as a manager full time. That's still inexperience.
It's young.
It's
still
I still
young.
think you can't have that hanging over you forever.
No, you're right. Because, look, Tottenham make a managerial change halfway through last season, and all of a sudden, their projection is higher than ours for a lot of people out there. A lot of people think Tottenham have done enough and have the manager to take them to third this season. When you ask fans from not just Arsenal, but other big 6 clubs outside of Liverpool City, they're looking at probably Tottenham right now and then Arsenal in terms of what the clubs have done this summer. So yes, a process is all good, and yes, we have come a long way in 3 years. When I look at some of the names that Arteta started out with, yes, they won him an FA Cup, which gave him the credit. He's done well to refresh the squad. He's done well to give us players that we actually like again, that I actually, want to go see, that I feel a connection with, and they feel connected to the club. So he's done very well there. But like Chris said, that inexperience does,
And he's changed the mindset.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's by getting rid of the 80% players that Edu was talking about, who were just there for the money.
Yeah. The mindset was in the mud.
I mean, I found that what a frightening thing to say. 80%.
We knew it though, Chris.
Yeah,
you could see it outside in.
But frightening, really.
Yeah, so to answer your question, the Kroenkes can't really do nothing now.
It's going to take a while.
No, but listen, if this bears fruit and in 2 years we're challenging for the league and we win a league in 3-4 years or whatever it is, then yes, I look back at all this time and say they did the right thing. But at the same time, does that mean stop putting pressure? Does that mean stop demanding success? No, because we've all seen what happens when we do give them a bit of leeway. We gave it with Wenger and moving into the Emirates, and look how far down we went. Yeah. So there's a balance to it. Yes, they seem to be changing their ways in terms of spending, but are they changing their ways in terms of caring? We've seen 2 of their American franchises win big in the last year. Let's see their English franchise win big this year, and that's Arsenal. So for me,
I want to shout out Edu as well, because go back to him, because I think that the chat he had with Lee, he didn't have to do that, and I think to kind of give the fan base. It was a good 5 minutes he was chatting to Lee and Cecil. James. Was it Cecil? Cecil, sorry, Cecil. And be as open as he was. Now, he might have just been talking absolute rubbish and just thought, let me just tell these fans some foolishness to get them off my back. But the fact that he stopped and had a proper engaging chat with the 2 fans, I thought he deserved a little bit of credit for that as well. Yeah, and he showed
we've always wanted these guys to be open and honest and talk to us. So when he does it, I think we do have to give him some credit.
Maybe in America, he felt like
a bit more relaxed. I mean, he was
no,
swearing.
that was in Germany.
That
was in Germany, but then even the interview with Michael Bridge, he was swearing in that interview.
Was he?
Yeah, he was swearing. They were beeping him out and that, and I was like, I felt like he was speaking with passion about Arsenal,
Well, Lee
I think he does.
He's a big Tottenham fan, by the way, that Michael.
He is,
I was going
to say, Edu, what?
No, but even before that, that Nuremberg moment happened, they had seen Edu, and Edu actually said, hold on there 1 sec, and he came back.
Fair play.
So it was very genuine, it was very natural. It was, so big up Edu for that, because listen, we're all Arsenal fans here. He did mention Lee's critical, so obviously he sees a bit. Sees a bit of the channel and a bit of the reception.
We see.
I think because he's from Brazil and he understands the Brazilian national team and the fans' connection is so important. So he's probably saying to Arsenal, "Listen, we got to bridge this gap with the fan base. So if he comes and interacts, that kind of." It makes him feel like one of us. It brings us together. So I think.
And it's good that Edu felt confident enough to do that himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because he's in a position of authority.
And it was in the moment. He didn't need to seek authorization. He didn't need to say, "Shall I do it for?" He just done it off his own back, and I like that. Listen, what seems a bigger connection with the fan base needs to align with progress. It needs to for me, because it's not just a connection that I'm after. It's progress, connection, and it needs to all come together and work towards the same direction.
Do you know why? I just thought. Do you know why he deserves more credit as well? Because remember the thing that happened between the Man United fan and their new chief executive?
The
When they
video,
recorded it, they filmed it.
Mugged him off.
him off properly,
Edu could have had that in his mind thinking, I don't want to say too much because if these guys could have been recording me or whatever. I know there was a camera there anyway, so he knew the camera was there, but he could have just easily been like, nah, I'm not going to get stitched up by these guys like my counterpart at United did. So yeah, big him up for that. He didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Shout him out.
So bare minimum, let's end it for this season because this is the last one before the Palace game. Chris, let me ask you, bare minimum,
third and the European trophy.
Third and the European trophy.
This is
Tim Payton's back, man. Third and a European trophy.
He's right. He is right. When you look at the third year of the process, when you look at what the other clubs are doing.
23.
It's gonna explode this year, yeah. Jeez.
Listen, I'll go next.
Go on.
For me, third, fourth, and a trophy.
Yep.
Whether it's the European, FA Cup, League Cup, or all of them, we can hope and dream. But listen, a trophy and third or fourth for me, and not just third or fourth on the last day of the season. Let's just get it comfortably.
Wow, these
man are going. Look, I'm going to be honest. With me, just put Arsenal back in the Champions League. Whether that's winning the Europa League, getting top 4. I'd love to see Arsenal get maybe top 4 and win a trophy. But if you put Arsenal back in the Champions League,
That's the aim.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. However you get there.
So are we asking what we think will happen or what we want?
What you want as a fan in knowing that this is the third year of the process, knowing that we've waited quite a while to get back even into the Champions League, and knowing we just missed out on top 4 last season.
I think what I want is top 4. So fourth is what going into the season as a fan. I'm saying deliver top 4. I don't think he will get top 4. I think he's swimming with some sharks that are all better than him, with better squads than him. So I think for him to come fourth, I think he's got to overachieve, which is possible. Spurs did it for 2 or 3 years under Poch. They came second, third, second, a couple of times. You know what I mean? It's possible. But I don't think we will get top 4.
But for me, Conte and Ten Hag.
Ten Hag. Well, not even Ten Hag. I think Klopp, Guardiola, Conte, and Tuchel. There's 4 managers there, all better than our manager. Ten Hag's the anomaly. He could finish 8th. They could finish 3rd. So there's that as well. Plus, there's always a random team that causes issues. It could be a Leicester or a West Ham. So he's in there with some big boys, and I don't think he's good. I don't think he's as good as any of those top 4 guys. So for me, I'm thinking the target should be 4th. It's your 3rd season now. It should be 4th, but I don't think he will get 4th.
Okay, so the target is 4th. No word of a trophy.
I actually think we've got a better chance of winning the Europa League than finishing top 4. But I get the jeopardy of a cup. Just one decision, you can be out and it's over. So I'm not saying put all your resources into the cup, but I actually think that I think we've got one of the best squads in the Europa League. Yeah. If not the best squad, I'm not seeing all the teams.
As a Man United, really the best too.
There you go. So we should be against the last 4 minimum.
Yeah, it can change in January though. In January,
Champions League.
True. That is true.
We must remember the effect of the World Cup. No one knows what effect that's going to have on anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We won't be able to answer that.
Yeah, but a weird season.
Yeah.
And hopefully we benefit from it. Listen, Jordan, Curtis, Chris, love for coming on again. We will touch base again maybe in between the Palace and Leicester game because the transfer window does go in until the end of August. So we'll talk again. People, hope you guys have enjoyed another Supporters Club. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Rate the Zinchenko signing. Tell us, do we need any more players before that Palace game? Or should we wait until closer to the end of the window and grab a couple bargains? Let us know in the comment section below. Love for the love, people. We're out. Peace.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.